ear off. Let's get comfortable. And you can choose if you want to do child's pose or you want to start on your back, whatever you would prefer. But yeah, that was just awesome. I loved watching all of that. So for now, let's just start to let go of the day. I don't know how your day was, but mine was good and productive, but you know, I had my frustrations too.
Yeah.
So we'll just start to let go and get some kisses from Brody. And we'll just start to turn inward, just start to settle into yourself, into your own body, and land. I like to say sometimes is land. Let's land into our physical body. And also just start to bring awareness to the belly and to your breathing. Then just start to deepen the breath. You can even put your hands on your belly if you want to. You don't have to, but if you'd like, sometimes it helps to bring more focus to the breath. Just notice the belly rising and falling with your inhalations and exhalations. And we'll start to deepen the breath a little bit as well. And then also start to make the exhalations a little bit longer than the inhalations. So we can get the parasympathetic nervous system to kick in and bring you straight into a more relaxed state. And if you find that your thoughts start to drift a little bit, that's okay. You can always just keep coming back to the breath. It's totally normal for the mind to start wandering and drifting. And that's why we do this part, you know, one of the reasons we do the practice, not just yoga, but when we do meditation or breath work or anything, you know, we can always come back. It's not a bad thing. Or, you know, it just means that our mind is active. And so that's why we practice. And let's go ahead and start to make your way up to sitting. And if it'll make it easier for you, you can just roll over to one side first, and then you can come up to sitting a little bit easier that way. We can start seated, and if you want to sit on a blanket, you can. I don't even know if I have one. Oh, I do. Well, it's because they're all underneath me. No, this is my cushy spot. So you can sit cross-legged or you can line up the heels. Either way is fine. We'll just start with the hands on the thighs for now and just start to bring awareness to your spine. And just notice how you're sitting. And if there's any way to create more length, we'll see if we can do that by lifting. Think about the crown of the head. Think about that there's like a string that can pull you up just a little more and see if we can get a little bit of length there. And then still maintaining that full deep breathing. And just notice how it feels sitting up straight like this. I'm Pretty sure you and I spent a lot of time at our desks today. So this is a nice way to undo that. It's easy for the spine to get kind of compressed. And then we'll take the hands in front with tented fingers. Just start walking forward so we can get a little more length in the spine by using traction. And only go as far as you can comfortably go. And if the hips feel like they're coming off the floor, just press your hands back into the mat and it will press the hips back down. And you might even need to back out a little bit too, which is totally fine. So full deep breaths. You can tuck the chin a little bit to get more length in the neck. And then we'll slowly start to walk the hands back up. Beautiful. And then let's hang on to the knees. Well, I'll wait for you to to do that. Get your hair ready. There we go. We'll hang on to the shins, and we're going to do cat-cow, but we're going to do it sitting up. So we're going to bring the chest and the face forward as we inhale. Usually we're going to start like this, so we actually come forward and then up. And then as we exhale, we're going to lower the chin to the chest and let the back round a little bit. So it will feel a little bit different doing it this way, but we're still doing the undulation of the spine. And you can set your, synchronize your breath with your movement so that you're inhaling, coming forward and up, and then exhaling and rounding the back. And you can go as fast or slow as you want. Of course, it depends on your breath. So if you're feeling more comfortable with a nice slow breath, then you'll have some slower movements. But again, just using your own breath as your guide and not mine. We'll do a few rounds of this. It always feels good. This is definitely one of my favorites. Whether it's cat-cow on hands and knees or doing it like this, sitting up, either way. So let's do 3 more, and then we'll just meet in a neutral spine, sitting up again. So from your sitting position, we're going to do a different kind of spinal undulation. So we're actually going to go around in circles this way. And when you come forward, it's similar to what we just did. You're going to come forward with the chest and the head, and you're going to come all the way around. And then as you start to come to the back, you're going to start to exhale. You might even grab hold of your legs for a little bit of leverage. And then once again, forward. So we'll take your time. And again, you can synchronize the breath with the movement. And you can also exaggerate the movement as much as you'd like. It just kind of depends on you. Maybe you don't want to make big circles today, maybe smaller circles. You know, it just kind of depends on how you're feeling, and listen to your spine and what your back might be needing today. And when you come backwards, you know, you're dropping the chin to the chest, just like we did earlier, and then sticking the chin out as we come forward. And then at whatever point that you feel ready, we'll pause and we'll change direction. So we'll go around a few times the other way. It's just another nice way to get the spine moving in all different directions. How does this one feel?
That's just good.
Okay, good. We'll just have you do a couple more circles and then again we'll meet in the middle. Awesome. And then let's do some shoulder circles. I'm not sure we have been doing many shoulder rotations, but they're so good for you, especially sitting at the desk. So just remember to throw those in. And then again, we'll switch directions. And this is another one where you can sort of exaggerate it as much as you want. Like, can you bring them all the way up to your ears? Does that feel okay? You know, what is it that you need today? Sometimes it doesn't feel great to go up that high. So, and then we'll pause here. And then another one I don't think we usually do is let's take the arms out by the sides. And let's do some rotations this way. So one arm's coming in, the other one's going out. And then you're going to switch sides. So you're probably going to feel this more up here in the heads of the shoulders. We're just going to go back and forth a few times. And if you want to synchronize the breath with the movement, you can go ahead and do that. I don't know what to call this, but it always makes me think of belly dancing. So we'll call this the belly dancer, but it's just so good for the heads of the shoulders.
Funny noises happening.
Noises coming from me or from your shoulders?
Like my shoulder.
Are you getting some crackles?
Like, yeah, like pop kind of
A
thing.
little bit of pop, pop, snap, crackle, pop, we call that too, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. My friend calls it ground glass, which sounds awful. I think snap, crackle, pop is a little bit
Yeah.
better. But yeah, I get them too, for sure, especially my right shoulder. Are you getting it more in your left?
Uh, yeah, a little more left.
Is it hurting at all or just
No,
popping?
just like funny. Oh, that
Yeah.
did it too. The right.
You know what that usually is adhesions. Remember we were talking about that before, where it's like the fascia gets a little bit stuck sometimes,
Yeah.
right? Especially just wear and tear. So that's usually what that is. Anyway, yeah, so let's keep the hands out and we're not going to rotate anymore, but what we're going to do is bring them in. And so for you, bring in your right arm underneath your left. You can start with the hug if you're not able to do the full wrap around, or you can press your forearms together or wrap all the way around and have your palms
I love this
together.
one.
You like this one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's such a good one. So good for the shoulders. So this is eagle arms, we call it, and it's usually done standing up with leg positions, but you can do this sitting down as well. So you can just stay here and enjoy and breathe, or if you want to play with this, there are different ways you can do that. So one of the things you can try and see how it feels is maybe bringing the elbows forward a little bit. That usually intensifies it right away. And then if you like that and it's feeling pretty good and you want to try a little bit more, you can also try lifting the elbows. So maybe even just as you're inhaling or not, maybe just taking a few breaths doing this. So this is not a pose where you absolutely have to sit still. You do have some space here to play and to try different things with your range of motion. You can also try lowering the elbows as well and see if you like that. And you might find that you might find you like lifting and lowering. You might find that you like just sitting still. So that's how you find out, is by exploring a little bit. For this one, I could go either way. I definitely am fine with raising and lowering the elbows, but my favorite is just pulling the elbows forward because it just makes it more intense, and I love that for this one, not for every pose.
Yeah.
So maintaining the full deep breaths, and then let's release this, maybe even just shake it out, and we'll do the other side. So we're just going to bring the opposite arm underneath. and come into the wrap on the other side. Another thing you can also do, some people like to bring the back of the thumb to the third eye. So that's another option. And again, you can try whatever you did on the first side, you can try on this side too. You can try pulling the elbows forward or raising them up towards the ceiling or lowering. And I'm sure you'll notice that one side is definitely different than the other. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I think for most of us that that would be the truth. And just keep breathing deeply, just like we were doing earlier. So maintaining those nice full deep breaths. And then let's slowly start to release. Bring the arms out and just kind of let that all go. And then let's inhale the left arm up. I think for you it's the opposite. And then we're going to cross over and just look over the right shoulder. And you're using the back arm to keep your spine steady. And then if you want to get a little more length, you can lift the chest a little bit as you inhale and just twist a little bit more as you exhale. But don't overdo it because we're not super warm yet, although it is, you know, the weather's warm. But we don't have to go too far. And then on your next exhale, we're going to just turn back towards the front.
See how relaxed Brody is?
Is he sleeping already?
I think your voice is calming.
Oh my God. Do you know what? It could be that because Missy used to always zonk right out if I did some kind of yoga practice or something. So let's inhale the other arm up right now. Oh, I'll sing him a little lullaby and then we'll cross and turn to the other side. Full deep breaths. Don't forget to keep the belly relaxed. Lifting the chest a little on the inhale and then twisting a little bit deeper as you exhale. And then on your next exhale, we're going to go ahead and release and come back to the front. And then let's come forward onto hands and knees. And I'm sure you probably remember Chaka, let me see if I can say it now, Chakavrakasana. I think that was the one. So
dipping down and coming up.
Yeah, that one is when you come all the way back to child's pose and then you inhale and move forward and up into cat. Then you come, I'm sorry, cow. Then you come into cat and then slowly press back into child's pose. So go ahead and start that one and you can again synchronize your breath with your movements. So the inhaling is definitely the cow pose where you're letting the belly drop and the gaze moves up. And then the exhale is allowing the head to move forward and just kind of fall nice and loose as we press back into child's pose. The forehead can come all the way to the mat if you'd like. And again, synchronizing breath with movement. And you'll find a nice rhythm in here. Let's do 3 more rounds of this one, and then we'll meet in a neutral spine. Beautiful. So let's do a little bit of, well, stretch the legs out and start to get into the hips. So we didn't sit on toes today, and that's fine. But we'll actually just be on the ball of the foot and press the leg back. And so while you're on the ball of the foot, press the heel back, actually, sorry, and that will definitely get into the calf and the hamstrings as well. And we'll just breathe here. And then we'll go ahead and take the right leg behind the left onto the outer edge of the foot and look over the left shoulder. Maybe even look at your foot and bring your awareness to your hips and your back and notice where you're feeling the stretch. If you're feeling it all along the right side of the body, if you're feeling it a little more in the hips or the lower back. This one, I always feel this in my QL, the quadratus lumborum. That's the one that we always pull by accident. So I always feel it there if I have, overdone something and my QL is a little bit, nudgy. I always feel it in this pose for some reason. So I know that we're getting a nice stretch there. And that's a hard muscle to stretch. Then we'll come back to the original position and we'll switch sides. We'll take the left leg back, starting on the ball of the foot and then just pressing the heel back. Nice full deep breaths. Getting a nice stretch in the calf muscle and starting in the hamstring as well. And the gaze is just past the mat here. And we'll take the left leg behind the right and again on the outer edge of the foot, looking over the right shoulder. And just like we did on the other side, just start to bring your awareness to the sensations that are happening here. Where are you feeling the stretch? And can you shift it? Can you play with it a little bit? What if you leaned and look over the shoulder a little more? Or what if you maybe bent one elbow? I mean, how would that change it? And would it change it for the better? Or is it something that you don't like? You can explore a little bit here. Just maintain that full deep breath. And then we'll go ahead and come back to starting. And then this time, let's take the right leg back and up. And we're going to do a little bit of balancing so we can strengthen some of the abdominals. So when you feel steady, you can go ahead and take the left arm out. We're just going to reach forward with the left arm while we reach back with the right leg. And we're just going to stay here and breathe. And while you're breathing, I'm going to adjust my air conditioning because I'm already feeling a little warm.
Do you recommend flexing or pointing here?
With your arm or your leg?
Leg.
Oh, you know what? It's up to you.
Okay.
I've seen it both ways and there's no rule. So if you like the way it feels with the foot flexed, you can flex it. And if you like it pointed, you can do that too.
Oh.
And then let's go ahead and release. And we'll come to the other side. And we'll just breathe and notice your hips, maybe even them out, because sometimes the left hip can hike up a little bit when we lift the left leg. So just make sure the hips are nice and even. And again, the gaze is past the mat for this pose. And we'll just breathe nice and deep. You can even find a drishti point if you want to, so anything that you can focus your gaze on. Keeping the belly soft so that you can breathe fully and deeply. And then we'll slowly release. And then we're going to take the knees wide, come back into child's pose. Keep the arms in front of you and keep the arms engaged and lower the forehead. We'll breathe here a few times. And just notice how keeping the arms straight and engaged also creates a little bit of traction for the spine. You can feel your heart sort of melting towards the mat. And from here, we're just going to lift the forehead and walk the arms over to the right as far as you can comfortably go, and then lower the forehead and breathe. And then we'll lift the head one more time, walk the arms back towards the center, and then all the way over to the left, and then lower the forehead again and pause here. And then lift the head. We're going to come back to center. And then we're just going to come forward onto our bellies. And we'll start in Sphinx pose. So we're going to take the feet about as wide as the mat. We're going to have the elbows right underneath the heads of the shoulders. We're pressing the toes into the mat. We're pressing the arms into the mat. And we're pulling our chest, our whole upper body, as if we're trying to pull it in between the arms. So the arms are pressing down and then pulling back so that we can pull our chest through. And then we're going to lift the crown of the head as well. So there's a lot of activity here, right? All of the muscles are working. Even the thighs, because we're pressing the toes into the mat, we're engaging the thighs as well. And all of that is to keep the lower back safe and stable while we get a nice back bend in the upper back. And then let's slowly lower. And you can keep the feet wide, and we're just going to lift the upper body off the mat, and the hands can come off the mat as well. And then you can take the legs up as well. So let's just stay here for a few breaths. Full deep breaths. And then slowly lower. And then inhale and come up again. And this time take the arms out in front of you. So let's bring the feet together. And then we're keeping the arms sort of parallel. And then let's exhale and bring the arms along our sides and the legs wide. I don't know what that was. I think it was my phone maybe. And then we're going to, actually, that was the inhale. The exhale is to close everything back up again. So sorry, I got distracted. So we're going to inhale, open up the arms, open up the feet. And then exhale and close the feet and close the hands. One more. Inhaling, opening up the feet and the arms. And then exhaling, closing everything back up, and then just coming back. You can rest the forehead or you can turn to one side and take a little break there. And then slowly, let's make our way back up to tabletop. And let's inhale the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then let's exhale it underneath the right. So we're going to take that nice twist that everybody loves. At least I know I do. And then the right hand can stay right here. You can walk the arm forward. Can also take the arm up towards the ceiling or wrap it around the waist. test it out, see which one works for you. Full deep breaths. And then to come out, we're just going to bring the right hand next to the face and just press to come up. We'll take a full inhale and exhale here. And then we're going to inhale the right arm up and exhale the right underneath the left and just come to the other side. So again, you're resting on the head and the shoulder, and then the left arm can reach forward or you can reach up towards the ceiling. You can even rest it on the lower back or wrap it around the waist. And just come back to the breath again and let the body relax and just sort of melt into this. You've got full support from the floor, so you can't really over twist. And then we'll go ahead and bring the left hand to the mat next to the face and then press into it to come up. And we're just going to come forward. Oh, actually, you know what? We're staying on hands and knees, and let's just bring the right foot forward. So we're just going to come into a low lunge. So the toes can be pointed on the back leg. And we're going to let the body come forward into this lunge. And we'll interlace the fingers and just press them into the upper thigh. So by pressing these into the upper thigh, we're doing a couple things. We're going to use the strength of the legs so that we're not flopping into the lunge. But then we're actually going to press into the thigh to get more length in the upper body. And hopefully you'll feel that a little more in the front of the left hip. And I think I've told you about this muscle before. This is the psoas. So we want to show the psoas some love. Full deep breaths. Strong legs. And then we're going to inhale and take the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale and cross it over to the outside of the thigh and just bring the hands together in front of the heart. Beautiful. So we're just in a nice little twist here. And then slowly release the twist. We're going to move the hands to the inside, and we're going to take the right foot out. And the right foot can either stay flat on the floor or you can bring it to the outer edge of the foot. We're going to press the left hand into the mat. The right hand's going to be at the upper right thigh, and we're just going to do a little twist by looking over the right shoulder. So there's a lot going on in this one. You're definitely getting a little strength in the left arm. You're getting more of a psoas stretch in the left hip. You're opening up the inside of the thigh here, the groin muscles. This is like my new favorite pose. I love it. Not new, it's been a favorite for over a year now, but I'm just loving it. It's really helped me open up my hips a bit because I'm always really, really tight on the inside of the adductor muscles and all that. And then slowly we're going to turn towards the front, and you can just stay here for a few more breaths, or if you want to come down a little further, only if it's available. It might not be, so test it out. Maybe even just come down to a block, or maybe come all the way to the mat on just to elbows. Some people lay all the way down. I might do that someday, I don't know. We'll just stay here and breathe. Does that feel okay? Okay, good. And just stay here and breathe. Full deep breaths. And if you are on the elbows, if it feels like too much, you can always back out and just come back to straight arms. Again, there's not a right or wrong. It's really more about how your body is feeling here. And then slowly let's press back up with straight arms and bring the right leg back into place and then sit back as if you want to sit on your heel, but only till the leg becomes straight. So now we're going to do a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. And you can either keep the foot flat or you can even raise the toes up towards the ceiling and just gently fold over that leg. You can also keep the knee bent if you need to. Just some full deep breaths here.
So tight.
It's intense, right? I used to hate this one. I've gotten
Important,
better.
but I am
What?
something. I said it's important, but yeah, I definitely am
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I've always, one thing I've learned is if there's a pose that I hate, that's the pose I need to be doing more.
Yeah.
All right, and then to come out, we'll just come forward and you can just slide that leg back. And then we'll just come onto the other side and do that whole sequence. So we're coming into that low lunge again. And again, strong legs, interlace the fingers, press into the thigh, and just lift the crown of the head, lift the chest, get long in the upper body until you're feeling all the stretch in the front of the right hip and the thigh, and even up into the abdominal area, because the psoas actually goes all the way up to the spine. And I believe it attaches right below the ribs, if I'm not mistaken. Nice full deep breaths. That muscle is so important too. Like it does so much because it connects the upper half and the lower half of the body. So it's pretty vital. And also it shortens and tenses up from stress, but also sitting in chairs. So yeah, that's probably one of the reasons it's hard to get to and it's a little neglected. And then from here, let's inhale and raise the right arm. And let's cross over to the outside of the left thigh and just bring the hands in front of the heart. We'll just stay here and breathe. Full deep breaths. And then slowly release. Bring your hands to the mat. We'll take the left leg out, just kind of scooch it over. And again, you can keep it flat or take it to the outer edge. We'll press the right arm into the mat, and then the left hand will come to the upper left thigh. We'll just turn and look over the left shoulder. And you'll probably feel this in the same place too, with this in where the psoas is. Most of it will be in the front of the right hip, but also the inner left thigh. Full deep breaths. Don't forget the deep, deep breaths. It's easy to forget, but then when you get reminded a lot, then it becomes a habit. Well, at least that's how it worked for me, because I used to watch the same video cassette over and over and over again when I first started. And the teacher was really good reminding you to breathe all the time, and it definitely got me in the habit. And then we'll slowly turn towards the front. And again, you can come to elbows or come to the block, whichever one works for you. We'll just get a little bit deeper. Breathing into it and really just letting the body let you in on its own when it's ready. It'll let us in a little more, like a millimeter at a time. And I'll take it. And then slowly to come up, we'll just bring the hands back to the mat. Press to come up, bring that left leg in, and then move the hips back as if we're trying to sit on the heel, and we'll get the stretch in the left hamstring. And again, foot can stay flat or you can raise it up to the ceiling. I know this one's hard, but you know what? I can definitely promise you that you will make progress, because when I first started doing this, I think I was like here. I just couldn't even go anymore, you know? And so if I can get this far, I think that's definitely progress. You know, it's taken a while, but that's okay. A little bit at a time, right? Baby steps. Okay, and then we're just gonna come forward so we can go ahead and slide it back. Come back to sit on the heels, and then we'll slide off the heels and bring our legs in front. So we're gonna come onto our backs. Take your time. And the first thing we're gonna do is take the feet a bit wider, and we're gonna do the windshield wipers. Everybody's favorite. Then I'm going to have you bring the knees into the chest and hug your knees. Give yourself a little rock back and forth. Then bring your feet to the mat and keep the feet in close to the hips. And then let's inhale and press the hips up into bridge pose or half bridge, it doesn't matter. And take a few breaths here. And then on your third exhalation, you can go ahead and start to uncurl the spine all the way back to the mat until the spine comes flat. And then we're going to inhale again and lift the pelvis again. And this time we're going to take the arms up overhead. I think you remember we did this last time where we synchronized breath with movement. So we inhale everything up and arms up. And then as we exhale, we're going to uncurl the spine, bring the arms back up and over to rest back on the mat. And again, use your breath with your movement. We're going to inhale again, pelvis comes up towards the ceiling, the arms come up and over. Nice full deep inhale. And then exhaling and uncurling the spine. We'll keep going. We'll do one more. Inhaling, lifting the pelvis, and then the arms come up and overhead. And then slowly exhaling and bringing the arms up and over back towards the front. And then this time bring the hands together, and we're going to lift the head and chest up off the mat so we can bring our hands in between our thighs. So we don't have to come up too high. And then slowly release. And then take your block and bring your block underneath your sacrum. Find that spot where it's nice and comfy. And we'll start by extending the left leg, and we'll bring the right knee in towards the chest. And you can interlace the fingers to grab the shin, and we'll get another nice stretch in the psoas here. Then go ahead and release the right leg. Bring the left leg in, and then extend the right leg and bring the left shin and knee in towards the chest. We're going to do the same on the other side. And just notice if one side's different than the other. It most likely is, but it might not be, but it most likely is. But no, really, it probably is. Sorry. Nice full deep breaths, keeping the belly soft and relaxed. And go ahead and release the left leg. We'll bring both feet to the mat and then press the pelvis up so we can move the block out of the way. Then bring the knees into the chest one more time. Place your hands on the knees. We'll do a few rounds of Apanasana. So as you inhale, the knees will move away from you until the shins become perpendicular to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring the knees in towards the chest. We'll go back and forth like this a few times. Let's do 10 rounds of Apanasana. I feel like because it's such a gentle movement that you could easily do 10 and not even notice anything. Exhaling in towards the chest, inhaling away, exhaling back in. And again, you're not really using the hands, they're just sort of a placement. And the legs are doing the work. So now you're also working on your lower abdominal muscles. And again, that's the beauty of this pose. You don't even feel like you're working those lower abdominal muscles, but you are. So I think I've been counting okay. So I'm counting that we have about 3 left.
Yeah. I think this is probably the last.
Okay.
It's fun.
All right. And then from here, maybe even bring your block next to you on the floor and let's cross one leg over the other. You can start with the left leg over the right leg and have the block on the right side. We're going to take a twist, but what you're going to do first is you're going to press the right foot into the mat so you can lift the hips and just scooch them over to the left and then twist over to the right. And the reason the block is there is in case you want to rest your knee on the block, because you definitely want to keep the shoulders or the shoulder blades on the mat. And the right hand can also just rest on the knee if you'd like. And the left arm is out by your side. And your gaze can either just stay up at the ceiling or even looking over the left shoulder if that feels okay on your neck. We'll just stay here for a few breaths. And then slowly release and bring everything back to center. And we'll move the block over to the other side, unless you have a block on the other side. What was that? Did you hear that? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, okay. Did you hear a little like beepity beep beep thing?
No.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. I heard it in my headphones, so I don't know what it means. Something's going on. Okay. So across the right over the left, press the left foot into the mat so we can scooch the hips over to the right and then twist over to the left. And I just got a nice pop in my spine. So if you get any pops here, that's good. It's fine when your spine pops on its own like that. And then the right arm can be out by your side, and the left hand can just sort of rest on the knee if you'd like. Gaze can be up at the ceiling or over the right shoulder. We'll just stay here and breathe. I'm having a little AirPod adventure right now, not knowing what these little noises are. It's funny. And then slowly, we're going to start to release and come back to center. And then you're going to roll to one side and just press yourself up to sitting. And then turn back again and have the legs right out in front. If you want to put something under the knees, you can, like a rolled up blanket or something, can be helpful. And then we'll keep the feet flexed and then sit up nice and straight. Inhale the arms up overhead, and then exhale into a forward fold. So you can let the hands land where they land. If you can grab the toes, that's fine, but you can keep your hands on your thighs or your shins. And just slowly breathe. And then slowly we'll bring your hands to the outside of the legs and we'll just walk them back up. And I realized I'm just not paying attention to the time. So I don't think we're gonna have time for any restorative poses, but we can do a plank. Definitely have time for that. And I forget which side is your side. You'll have to remind me. Is it the left side for you? It's the right side for you?
Yeah, I go up on the right.
Okay. All right. And then how have you been doing your plank lately? Have you been doing like the kickstand? All right, cool. So we'll do the kickstand and we'll come up. Beautiful. And you can keep your hand here. You can raise it up to the ceiling. Looks fabulous. Do you feel like your arm's been getting stronger doing this every other day?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it definitely will strengthen. I again, for myself, I've noticed over time as I kept going in the beginning, my arms kept feeling really shaky. And for me, my right shoulder is my quirky shoulder, but it's gotten steadier and steadier, which is really nice. And if you want to make it a little harder, you can maybe take your leg up, but just feel it out. If it doesn't feel okay, don't do it. Feel okay? All right, awesome. All right, and lower the leg if you did take it up, and we'll turn around. And you know what? I know that we focus on one side, but we are going to do the other side just a little shorter so
Okay.
that you're not getting a lot of strength in one arm and not the other. So we'll just come onto this side, but we'll just hold it a lot shorter than we did the first side. And just do a few breaths. Great. I think that'll do it. And then we'll come back. And then I think what we'll do is we'll get you like a nice cushy. We'll come into Shavasana, but we'll get a nice cushy one. So we'll get you to have a nice rolled up, because this also makes it a little bit restorative when you put a nice rolled up blanket under the knees. And then you can grab your dog. Grab your dog blanket. Just get nice and comfortable and cozy with your little Brody. You can relax the legs. You could also put the bolster under your legs if you'd like. It's up to you, but I think you might like it, and your legs are long enough where you can definitely have the bolster under there and still be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Good. Oh my God, he looks so cute under the blanket. I can't even. Oh my God, so cute. Okay, so now I'll just start to let go, and you can allow your body to start relaxing. And you can close your eyes if you'd like. And you can have your hands out by your sides, or you can keep your hands on Brody because he's so soft and sweet. You could even put a hand on the heart, a hand on the belly. It's really up to you. Just get comfortable and start to let go and start to let the legs feel nice and heavy and no more effort. We'll just let them feel heavy and sink into the mat and sink into the bolster. Let the thighs feel heavy and let that nice melty feeling just kind of move all the way up and into the hips. And because you have the knees elevated, you may not feel the lumbar curve in the spine, and that's okay. And this is something you can do to relax that area as well if you have some tightness at sometimes. For now, just let the whole lower back feel nice and heavy and just sinking into the mat. And actually even just notice all the points of contact along the back side of the body and how supported you are. And soften the belly. And just notice the breath. You can, of course, let go of the deeper breathing and just be with the natural rise and fall of your normal breath. Notice the shoulder blades. See if we can let them soften just a little more. And is it possible to soften the chest and the area around the heart? And also relaxing the muscles of the neck and of the jaw. And also releasing the tongue if it's stuck to the roof of the mouth. Maybe even letting the mouth hang open a little bit just to get a little more relaxation in the jaw. Then thinking about the muscles of the scalp and if we can allow them to stay soft and relaxed. The muscles of the cheeks, the muscles around the eyes, between the eyes, behind the ears, all the little muscles of the face. And just rest. let's just start to bring awareness back into the room and back into your body. Maybe just start by taking a full deep breath. Get some fresh air into your lungs. And maybe just wiggle fingers and toes a little bit. Maybe take the arms up overhead. Give yourself a stretch. And then gently and slowly make your way over to your side. You might have to kind of scooch the bolster out of the way. And there's the baby in the blanket. So sweet. Okay, we'll close out our practice. I'm so glad that we're practicing again. And I'm glad that you got to make it for yourself. And I thank you. And let's have an awesome rest of the week. Namaste.
So much. Namaste.
Just as one piece fell out. Awesome.